there, welcome to Homekeepers. Hey, come right on in, my friend. I'm hoping there's a lot of new viewers out there today, and also believe that probably the name of the program explains what we're all about, and that is the home established by God in the book of Genesis. And you know, when the homes are running the way God designed them, makes a difference in the nation, which tells you something about America today, that she's not doing so well. And just look at the statistics on the home and the parenting and all of the immoral things that are going on. It really explains the situation we're in, and so that's why we're here. We want to do our part to get them on track, and the Lord sends us wonderful guests like today. Her name is Carol Erb, and she's a doctor and is a Christian counselor. She's an author of the book Enveloped. I certainly recommend this. I finished it earlier this morning, and she lays out very, very honestly what happened in her marriage, and it's very clear that God can lead you through the most difficult things into a life of adventure you never could have dreamed. And she will be telling you that. I just absolutely know that I'm talking to people and your marriage is in great trouble. Maybe you just found out that your mate is being unfaithful. I urge you to stay and listen to what Carol has to say, because God can be with you through any situation. And as we make this program, it's kind of the end of the summer, and all that good fruit is out there, the peaches and the apples and all those things. So we're making a peach blueberry crumble tart. And if it's anything like it smells in this studio today, it's going to be great. You're going to enjoy watching Stephanie and me make this very colorful presentation. But before I join her, I want one more time to tell you about Praying Circles Around Your Children, a book by Mark Batterson, who is the pastor of a very large church in Washington, D.C. If you're a Christian reader at all, you're probably familiar with some of his books, the most famous being on the New York Times bestseller called The Circle Maker. And this is a springboard off of that book to really zero in on the importance of praying for your children. And as he mentions, you will never, ever be a perfect parent, ever. But you can be a praying parent. And that is so very important. I have no doubt I am receiving the blessings of parents who have been, parents and grandparents who have been in heaven for a long, long time. Praying is something that you can do that will last beyond your time here on earth. I'm offering you this book because I think it's so very, very important. What a great gift to give somebody who's expecting a baby. Your children, your in-law children, your grandchildren should have this book, and we're offering it to you for any gift that you'll give us. We need your help financially. That's the way Christian ministries operate. And so if you would send the best gift you can to the address on your screen, we will appreciate it. It's Homekeepers, Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33758. You choose the amount, and I've noticed in my own giving that I have real peace when I give what the Lord kind of prompts me to give. I've done that many, many years in my life, and that's one area of my life I think I got down pat finally. And I'm over here with a girl who's got everything running perfectly.
No, no.
Not too long ago, the Lord impressed me to write a really big check for me. Wouldn't be for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I think this is the first time I did it that I didn't argue with him. Before
You've learned.
Before I said, oh, you know, are you sure, you know, and who's talking to me?
Yeah.
And he says, my sheep know my voice.
Yep.
And I'll give you a little hint on that. The devil's never going to tell you to give anybody anything, so you can just mark that up. And I gave it, and no looking back. That's growth.
You're wise.
That's growth.
You're using wisdom.
There's a few other areas we're still working on. Okay, what are we doing?
Okay, you said it's the end of summer, but the feel-like temperature is over 100 today, so blah.
Well, we're in Florida, so.
Okay, so I'm gonna work on the base. You're gonna spray that for me, and then you're gonna mix blueberries, peaches, and a little bit of honey together. Those are your 2 jobs today.
I never get 2 jobs, so I'm kind of nervous about
So
this.
that's flour and sugar.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna
You
put
know, on the
cinnamon
last
and
program, we
butter.
were talking about your trip to Savannah. And we were going to have a picture of what
Yeah,
you
I
ate.
forgot.
Yeah, right.
Actually, I thought about it like a half an hour ago. but I
Okay,
wasn't
keep
gonna,
tuning in
I wasn't
because we're
gonna do
going to
that
show
the
you
crew.
her plate from Paula Dean's place.
You can imagine.
It was really disgusting.
It was not disgusting.
It was a plate with so many things on it, and big things. They look like really good portions. And I'll bet they tasted
I have no comment for this. I
so
have
good.
nothing.
Okay, what was it though?
It was collard greens, it was mashed potatoes, it was fried chicken, it was beef, macaroni and cheese, cheddar cheese biscuits.
Comfort food.
I had banana pudding and ooey gooey cake. Okay, so I mixed flour, sugar, cinnamon, and I'm gonna add some butter, and this is gonna be the base.
This is 2 cups each of
Blueberries.
and fresh peaches.
Yep. I might give you another job
Oh,
because I have to put this in the base, and then
you think I can do 3?
I think you can do it.
Okay, I'll just guess at
Food
this.
Network isn't gonna call yet, and they're gonna want Arthelene Rippy.
Oh, no. Won't be me. They might ask me to come and do the prep work for you, the
You can
star.
be my sous chef. Yes.
Yeah.
Base here, pardon me. So you're doing the filling, and then what I'm gonna have you do, I'm gonna have you mix together oats, flour,
Okay.
pecans, brown sugar, butter, and ground cloves. You're gonna mix that
Now
together.
you're actually supposed to let this sit a little bit so it can hang out and
And the recipe calls for frozen, but we, because of the
Yeah.
season that it is, we used fresh.
yeah. Well, the fresh ones are cheaper. So this is oatmeal,
That's oats. Yep.
flour,
Yep.
cloves.
Ground cloves.
That's what I could smell in the oven. Brown sugar looks like about 1/3 of a cup or so, and pecans.
Yep, you're gonna mix that, and you have to. It's got butter in it, so you want to make like a crumble. So you really
Yeah.
want to mix it good.
Okay.
And I'm taking this Tart pan, and I'm just taking this base, and I'm pressing it out and up the sides. And then what you do is you bake this for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. You bake the base, and then you let it cool for a few minutes, and then you put the fruit in, and then you put the topping in, and you bake it again. And that time is, I lost that one.
It's about
35 to 40 minutes. Yep, until it gets all bubbly and gooey.
And that's when you think you have died and gone to heaven.
Yes. We have had a few of those desserts.
Yes, we have. And we've had a few.
No one needs to know that.
No, we're not going to say what it was or anything, but we heard from a lady who didn't like a recipe we did, and we did like that one.
We did like it.
Because if we don't like them, we tell you.
She said she's never, ever using one of our recipes again. I'm
Oh,
like, oh, please give us another
Yeah,
chance.
she'll give us another chance. I think she will.
Because I loved it. I made that exact recipe.
It was good.
like last week for my family, and they loved it.
I think the worst thing we've ever done is some kind of a potato salad.
No,
That warm
no.
potato salad?
No, the worst thing
But
we
was-
ever did was the deviled eggs with avocado.
Oh,
That was
that
the
was
worst
bad.
thing
Yeah,
ever.
that was bad.
I will never forget that.
But out
'cause-
of 3,000 shows,
yeah,
can
we
only
did all
name
right.
2 or 3?
Yeah. I'll remember that one because my mom called me and she's like, you did not like that. Okay, so we would bake
Let's see if
this
I can
for
lift this like
15 to
this.
20 minutes, and then we would fill it with the fruit,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would put the topping on and bake it again.
And I think we got a winner here.
I'm going to say yes.
Yes. And with just that little bit of honey, it's not much sweetener.
Yeah.
This is still pretty hot, actually, so if it doesn't come out like...
Yeah, it needs to set for a while.
yeah, it
but we
does.
don't have time for
It's
that.
it's very juicy, so please remember that. I'll let you do it
Okay.
because you have a steadier hand.
And you're actually supposed to use a Tart pan that has the removable sides.
Oh,
We
a
didn't-
springform.
Yeah, but we don't have one for the Tart. We have a
Oh, do
regular.
they have a Tart
They
one?
do.
Why wouldn't the regular one work?
Because it's too big. Okay, so it's ooey gooey.
Ugh. Isn't that beautiful color?
Oh, it's gorgeous, and it smells like a little bit of heaven in here.
I just don't.
Is it that hot? Did it burn you?
No.
Okay.
Fresh, fresh, fresh.
Mmm. Yes.
We don't like this one. We love it.
Oh, fresh fruit. Oh, goodness.
That's a winner. That is a winner.
I concur.
If you want it, it's absolutely free. Peach, blueberry, crumble, tart. Email us or write to us. We'll get it right out to you and hope you enjoy it. This is a real winner. Now stay with me. I want you to meet my new best friend, Dr. Carol Erb.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, just write to the address on your screen, or you can email your request to arthelene@rippy.org.
Oh, I'm so excited to introduce you to Dr. Carol Erb. She's a clinical Christian counselor, an author. She does a lot of speaking, and I think worked in singles ministries a lot. Maybe she still does. Hey, welcome.
Thank you, Arthelene.
Glad to have you here. You know what I appreciate about your book is you really laid it out there. You really told us the truth. Did you ever have second thoughts about that?
Well, right before it was getting ready to be published, I thought, oh, I'm really opening up the kimono here.
Yeah. I look back at your childhood, and I'm sure with your experience in counseling, your mother left, and she had someone else. That's a little unusual. Women do that, but not as great a percentage.
True.
And then your father, at what point did he die in your life?
I was about 35 years old, and I lost him to suicide.
And he took his life. How old were you when your mother left?
I was just about to have my 19th birthday, and on that day, she took me to work, and I worked at a local pool as a lifeguard, and as I was getting ready to step out of the car, she said, I'm leaving. I'm taking your brother with me, and I've left $100 under your pillow, and don't tell your father.
Did you at that point know that there was somebody else she was interested in?
Oh, no. I did not know that at all. I knew that they had some difficulties, simply, you know, as a younger child hearing arguments and things like that, but as far as someone else, no, I found that out later. I
can't imagine the shock. Bye-bye, I'm taking your brother, here's a little money.
It was shocking, and that day I started to get a rash all over me, and some of the other lifeguards said, Carol, it looks like you have the ick. I said, what's the ick? And they said, well, it eats scales off of you and they eventually die. And although it was funny, inside it, I felt like I was dying on the inside.
It was from nerves, yeah.
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 Uh-huh.
The reason I ask that, because according to what you just said, you didn't pick up any clues at all as to her leading a double life. Fast forward to when you married and your husband did that. We'll get into that a little bit more, but I was wondering, did you see anything in his behavior that said, oh yeah, I saw Mama do that?
Meaning my husband?
Uh-huh.
Well,
I know how you found out. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But did anything ever pop up and say, that's a little familiar?
Something's not clicking, meaning?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there was the lying. That was the main clue to me, because I remember saying to him one time, if you can lie to me about that, it scares me to death what else you could lie to me about. Mm-hmm. And that was probably one of the consistent patterns that I saw. But
you didn't see that in your mother?
No, not like that, no. Not as blatant. I mean, she might respond to things by saying, well, I don't understand, or I don't know, or I don't remember, but not clear-cut things not adding up.
Do you know, do you know what I loved about your book? You found, or your son found a matchbook.
Correct.
That was from a strip club, really, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it just, he gave it to you, and you just immediately, and you went right to the club. I'm not sure I would have done that, but good for you, girl.
He was detailing his dad's car, and he came running into the house, and he said, Mom, what is this? And I said, I don't know. And when he finished, I told my 3 sons at the time, ages 10, 12, and 15, that I needed to go run an errand. And I personally believe it was under the leadership of the Holy Spirit that took me to that topless bar to uncover a major deception that was going on in my marriage.
You know, that really, because I'm very familiar with this kind of thing, being in the ministry as much as I have, because you could have excused, well, he might have picked that matchbook up someplace, you know, you might have dismissed it, but it must have been the Holy Spirit. You went straight to that bar, and he was there.
He was there at 5:30 in the afternoon.
In your car?
I saw my car in the parking lot, and I marched right in.
Did the truth start pouring out that night?
No.
What was his excuse?
He said, when I asked him what in the world is going on, he said, well, I like to go so I can be whoever I want to be. And that was just the most bizarre comment to me, because in my mind, I tend to use sort of sarcasm as a way of coping. And in my mind, I thought, okay, so you can go in and be Superman today, you know. And so that's where we started, and he denied everything, which is typically a very...
How could he deny it when he was there? And some woman was rubbing his shoulder.
Yeah, he just tried to dismiss it and minimize it, quite frankly, you know, and it was nothing for me, was not small to me. It was a huge problem that began to become unraveled.
But there was some truth there, that he could be there who he wanted to be, or maybe who he really was. And at that point, I think in a marriage, you maybe gradually come to the conclusion, I don't know this person. I'm living with them, I'm eating with them, we're sharing life together, we go to bed together, but I don't know him. That's a horrible realization.
Yes. And Arthelene, I think for me, things started to add up, because he worked, he had a lot of discretionary time, and there would be many times when I couldn't find him or locate him. And of course, it's not like today where you have the cell phones where you can text and get immediate answers. And he would come in with a boatload of excuses as to why I couldn't get up with him.
And then progressing on, someone did emerge in his life, and there was a divorce, which only if you've been through it can you ever understand the pain. And I think you outline it very well in your book. How did you, he walked out, you know, with the girlfriend and all, but I've always had this question, how does anybody walk out on their children? If anybody out there can tell me how you do that, I want to hear from you.
That was, I think as a mother, that complicates grief, because you're losing the loss of a mate and the marriage as you know it. But also you're grieving for your children because of the pain that they're experiencing, so it's a complicated grief. And actually people did come to him and plead with him and try to reason with him, and I really thought that with all the support that I was getting from friends and family, that he would, you know, snap out of this, but he didn't.
Yeah, and you were willing to work to put it back together.
I was.
Yeah. If you just joined me, I'm talking to Carol Erb. She is a PhD, written a book, Enveloped, really a great book. I can tell you for sure I've read it. The information's on the screen and her website, and you can go there to get the book, because this isn't just a tale of woe and a far too common tale, but what the Lord did with her after that is the real story. But I know the feeling of picking up the pieces to go on, and you need to get a job, and you need to do this. I had 2 teenagers when I was left, and I just identify with how do you go on? You thought your life was set. You thought that this is the way it was going to be. And it's very obvious that the Lord led you every step of the way, and you have become what you never would have been. Never would have been. And none of that was the Lord's will, but He does bring beauty for ashes. He really, truly does, and that's your story. Did you ever dream that at any point you would, first of all, have a PhD by your name?
At that time, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I taught a lot of women's Bible studies, so it came naturally to me to want, I did have calls and prayed with women and a lot of ministry there. And it was that one Sunday morning when that still small voice I felt was leading me to go into Christian counseling. And it was like, really, Lord? Me? Okay, sure, I will. And that began the path of beginning a brand new life. And there are 3 stages to a divorce. There's the emotional side, where you grieve all the multiple losses. Then you've got the business side of divorce, where you have to prepare financially. And then finally, the 3rd phase of divorce is rebuilding your life after divorce. And so that was where God had me at that point.
I want to go back to something I forgot. You went straight to the topless bar to confront him, and then when you found out he had a girlfriend, you went straight over to her house. Isn't that right?
Well, actually, what happened was I saw them at my sons play tournament racquetball, and I saw them there.
And you confronted.
Oh, yes.
You're a confronter.
Yes, I don't put my head in the sand.
I know, but I would guess that most of the people you counsel do put their heads in the sand. I doubt if the greatest percentage of them do what you did.
Yeah, I heard this statement, and I think it's so true. Delay is the deadliest form of denial. And denial is a defense mechanism that we have to protect us from pain.
Yeah.
But as long as you delay it, you're not going to get through it. And so, yeah.
So do you kind of, in your counseling situations, do you encourage, okay, confront it? It's painful, but.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think you're right. Also, your pastor, I wrote this down because I thought it was important. I believe was talking to the 2 of you and trying to reach your husband, and he told him, a little pain now or a whole lot later. And that really jumped out the page, let's work to put it together at this point instead of letting the whole thing, because it is a covenant. You mention in the book, too, the ease of getting a divorce and this, and this. Even in the church, looking back, what do you think happened? I think a lot of people, maybe me too, didn't give it that much thought, but this thing called no-fault divorce came out in my lifetime, and now that I look back, that's horrible. It is somebody's fault.
Right. We're in a society now that covenant marriage is becoming less and less a sacred promise. It's more like, well, until you do something I don't like, which is a contract marriage. And so, yes, back on that day when I was in the pastor's study, he did say, how much pain do you want? A little bit now or a whole lot later? And many couples think that heading down the road for divorce is going to stop the pain they're in, but they're just trading it for a whole nother set of pain.
Oh yeah, and it could be decades, absolutely, because you don't mess around with God's ways and not pay for it. I'm afraid we're going to run out of time. Got to move ahead, because how long have you been married to Walt now?
We'll be celebrating our 11th year anniversary this October.
And you met on a website?
eHarmony.
Girl, you are so bold. That scares me to death. But
Well, actually, my pastor's wife said, "Hey, Carol, I heard about this website about a man who created, he had worked through marriages all these years, and he now, saw so much pain, and now he's put together this site to find all the dimensions that make a good marriage. You ought to try it out."
it's almost scientific, isn't it?
Very true. I went through this 2-hour-long questionnaire, and then they do all the computerized of matching you up. And then you, of course, it has to be the chemistry piece is between you and that.
Yeah, do they know that opposites attract sometimes?
Right. Very true. Very true.
And do you have a counseling center?
Yes.
Where is this?
It's
Tell the
in
people.
Beaufort, South Carolina, the Beaufort Center for Marriage, and we specialize in helping Christian couples move past a rough spot in their marriage to avoid divorce. And so we don't work in the traditional manner. We work from a coaching perspective, which allows us to work with couples. Their location is no problem. So we do Christian marriage coaching.
Well, in a situation like that, both people have to be interested, do they not?
Yeah, and oftentimes we'll have a spouse call in and their mate is not interested, and we do what is called couple sessions for one person. And,
Yeah.
And so eventually, many times, we've seen the spouse come in because their mate is making changes and they like what they're seeing.
Oh, yeah, and we are out of time, but you do need to give Christian counseling a try, because there's a lot you don't know. You could learn so much in one session. You know Dr. David Clark,
Yes.
he's on here every month, and I've gone over that a lot. You can learn so much just one time that can, get the ball rolling. Promise me you'll come back when you're in Florida.
Would love to.
Will you?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, and thank you for a wonderful book. I hope you got that information, because that's one thing we want to do on Homekeepers is keep these covenant marriages together. That's absolutely the best route, and all things are possible to those who believe, and God will get right in the middle of it and help you. I know He will. Join me next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.